Oh, no problem. Not a problem. I'm just thankful that we can get online and have a little discussion and actually meet virtually. And I can't wait to meet you in person.
Heck yeah, man.
So, tell everyone a little bit about you and how you got involved in like strongman.
So I competed in MMA for a long time. And then when I was done with that, I kind of wanted some other competitive outlet. Um, and I had done a lot of, sorry, my cat is being crazy. I'd
No
done a
problem.
lot of kettlebell work when I was conditioning for MMA. And the only place you could find kettlebells at the time was CrossFit gyms. So kind of got into everything through CrossFit essentially. Um, Ended up opening my own gym there for a while, and then took the CrossFit Strongman certification, and then just kind of went from there. And then over time, figured out I'm built better for powerlifting, so kind of went down that rabbit hole for a while, and then stumbled onto Maces in like 2021, and just really liked it. I was a little banged up, and it was something I could still do, and still do pretty heavy, but not kind of aggravate things.
Who introduced you to working with a mace?
So I was listening to the Great Lakes Gira podcast. I was just looking for fitness podcasts, and he was one of the companies I saw that actually had stuff in stock still during that time. And I heard Rick Brown on there. And then from him, I also kind of found Coach Vaughn and got some of his ebooks. And then kind of between those two guys is kind of what I learned stuff from.
And when you were doing the MMA, were you like in the UFC? Were you going that route like
Oh
UFC,
no,
or
I mean
what
it
was
was
your passion for that?
it was it was a very different time as far as MMA goes. Like I was pretty good for that era. Um, Fought professionally for a little while. Did overall competition was about 7 years. I was always more of a kickboxer than anything, and just nowadays everybody's so good at everything. It just wasn't like that back then. Like there weren't any really great jujitsu guys at like kind of a lower professional level. It was just different,
What was that
but it was
time
fun. I'd
frame?
always
Like what
do
time
what,
frame are we talking about?
like 2004 to like 13 or 14.
Yep.
Oh god, cat's getting crazy. Oh my god, go away. There we go.
What's your cat's name?
That's Mo. We actually have four cats, and he is the one that is always attention starved.
All right.
He's our friendly one, but
Well, Mo is always welcome on
well,
here.
he's back,
Always.
so
Speak of the cat.
he is a very friendly man. He usually gets a lot of lap time with me here on the computer desk. I haven't been home today, so he's a little needy.
All right. So, how did you hear about the Woodall's vintage strength games?
So I compete in everything I do. I always end up taking it too far and going too hard. And I was like, man, I'm liking this mace stuff. I'm liking this club stuff. Where can I go to like beat people or just compete on a clock, like do something to like feel like I'm competing. So I started Googling it and saw that it was at the Arnold at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of went down the rabbit hole and saw that there was one last year down in Florida, I think maybe.
Yep, down in
So I
Orlando.
was like, all
Mhm.
right, it's only happening once a year, but if that's happening again, I'm definitely gonna, get practiced up and work at it. And it's cool because it's definitely not my expertise, right? Like I'm like a 60 seconds heavy thing as many times as you can, or like one rep max kind of athlete competitively, basically ever since I was done with MMA. So it's definitely a different modality.
What do you enjoy most about the Mason clubs?
I just think they look cool, man. Like I just when you it's so I doing CrossFit, I did some Olympic lifting as well. Competed in that a little bit. And it's like if you ever do like a snatch and you like do it wrong, it just feels like utter garbage. But when you do it right, it's like it feels so good. And this is swinging a golf clubs like that too, right? Like when you hit it perfect, it just goes and it's effortless. It's the same thing, but I feel like I can repeat that feeling way more often with like clubs and maces than I can with the other movements. And it just, yeah, when you feel things just go how they're supposed to go, it's just a really cool feeling.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot more MMA, martial arts, and strongmen, and strong ladies have started using mason clubs within their own training. And this has
Yeah.
just been within the past couple of years that I've noticed. And what's your take on that?
So I feel like there's a couple things. This guy, Chris Duffin, who was a world record power lifter. He's very like smart, very like engineering guy. But he had some shoulder things, and he started training with the Wolf Brigade guys for a little bit, or getting like learning from them at seminars and stuff. So the shoulder rock is actually like his thing. So it's like a mace. It's plate loadable, but it's like 2.5 inches of loadable space, which is a little crazy. But so that's kind of where strength sports first, in the modern era, kind of got a taste of it. Was kind of like a pretty high level power lifter doing it, but more as like a rehab prehab kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
not like as a strength development skill, and definitely not like a flow thing. Um, but I think honestly, COVID, with a lot of gyms shutting down and people who didn't have home gyms, things like kettlebells, things like maces and clubs, I think that was kind of the impetus for them to get like a lot more traction in the last couple of years, because it was like one thing you could do a lot of things with. You don't have to buy a squat rack, you don't have to buy a rack of dumbbells. Like, it's helpful to have, if you only have fixed weight, it's helpful to have a bunch of them. But you got the adjustable ones with CK and AdX that, the sky is the limit to some degree with them.
Yeah, I love the edX. They're our title sponsor for this
Yep.
event. So it's good that you have some AdX maces and clubs to train with.
I have a lot of AdX equipment, so I've kind of tried to get a little bit of everybody's. I actually just ordered the Great Lakes Gira one as well. That's a mace and a club. So man, I'll play with them all and see what works. But yeah, I definitely wanted to make sure I had AdX stuff, since that's what we're actually going to be competing with. It's like crazy not to train on, because they can feel so different, depending on what it
Absolutely.
is. But man, yeah, I'm loaded up.
Absolutely.
I got a Wildman arc, I got a mace, I got 2 clubs, and then I got 2 add-on kits. And yeah, I can get nasty in there. I was swinging like a 65-pound AdX arc the other day, which was pretty crazy. It was fun.
Amazing. Amazing. So within your training, what specifically are you using to prepare for the Woodall's Vintage Strength Games? Like,
Um,
are you just doing kettlebells? Are you doing a combo of kettlebells, weights, and mace, or just mace? Like, what are you doing?
so I have a powerlifting meet like the week after the strength games as well. So I've been kind of like, am I allowed to cuss?
Sure.
I'm trying to ride or 2 horses with one butt is
I
what's
got you.
happening right now a little
I
bit.
got you.
So it's very, I'm training pretty heavy. I'm like healthy enough that I can like barbell lift again. I kind of had a shoulder and a back thing go on a couple months back. So I'm pretty reppy still, but I mean, I'm putting in some work. I'm getting like, deadlifts up around 500 pounds for reps, and benching, mid 300s for like a, 8 to 10 ish right now for some sets. But then I'm always, especially on my upper body days, I'm always getting some club work in, and some mace work. Sometimes it's like a 10 by 10. Sometimes it's a, 100 reps as fast as possible kind of thing. So I'm trying to work more the endurance-y side. Some days I feel real good and I'm going to push a little heavy. But I'm doing it kind of at the end, after everything's kind of tired, so that it'll be a little more similar than to where I'm like fresh but swinging for longer. But I'm at the point where I can go like a 30-pound mace without an issue nonstop for like 8 minutes without a problem.
Nice.
Um, so and then I think pushing kind of some of the heavier ones, helps with that too. Like if you're stronger, it's like a lower percentage of your max. You're going to be able to swing for a little longer. But I'm definitely trying to get like longer reps in, just so I'm used to just swinging that long, more on the grip than anything.
Oh yeah, the grip. That's number one for my clients. That's the first thing they
Mm-hmm.
notice is the grip and then the shoulder mobility.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. Where are you located?
I'm in Lafayette, Indiana, so it's kind of right where Purdue University is.
Okay. And how's the weather been there?
It's been pretty good. It's been pretty mild. We have some days where it gets a little wild, and we had some really cold days this past week, but then we also had like, a couple days in the 80s. It's the Midwest. It's all over the place.
Do you do any outdoor training with your Mason clubs?
I don't. So man, I like hiking, but I hate just being in the outdoors. Like I have a garage gym that I do most of my lifting in, and I like pour into the duct work and put like a ventilation out into the garage so I can like temperature control my garage as well. Um, but I swing in front of a mirror a bit, but I definitely spend some time not in front of the mirror too, because you're not going to have that when you're, competing. So you want to make
Right.
sure you can know where you're at without that.
Right. Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
awesome.
I actually just got the White Lions Athletic. They're like kettlebell backpack that can
Oh
actually
yeah,
store
I've seen
Mason
that.
too. So
Yes.
I plan on doing some hiking and getting some swings in like on mountains and stuff here before too long.
Yeah,
We go out to
I
Gatlinburg
saw
quite a
them
bit.
marketing that just a few weeks ago, and they were
Yep,
hiking with it,
it's
and then
pretty
they
cool.
took it out of their backpack and did a workout on top of the mountain. I was like, oh, that's pretty awesome.
Dude, that's literally why I bought the Arc, is because I was like, I could do club stuff and like mace stuff with one implement and just carry one thing up the mountain instead of trying to carry a bunch of things up there.
We need to create like a rucksack that can carry the arc and some clubs and like a kettlebell, right?
It's the weight
But I don't
capacity
know
that'll
who would
get
want
you,
to carry
because
all that on a mountain trail.
there's this guy on Instagram, Destination Deadlift, I think is his account, and he hikes out, he deadlifts everywhere out in the wilderness. But he'll do like a 4 mile hike, and he'll do it like 4 times, because he'll come out with like um a plate, like a 55-pound plate in each hand, some weights in a backpack, put it where he wants to do it. And he'll do that like 3 or 4 times, then finish by bringing the barbell just so he can have like, 5 plates worth of deadlifting there. It's crazy. I'm
Well,
like,
he'll
this
be
will be much
definitely warmed
easier.
up.
Yeah. I'm like, I'd get it there and be just not ready to lift it at all.
Right.
That's a pretty cool account.
So, who are like the mentors in your life? Like, who do you follow? Who do who inspires you?
So for like fitness stuff or like business stuff or
Anything. It could be spiritual, it could be business, it could be
yeah.
fitness.
So I follow Andy Frisella's podcast like crazy. I feel like it's very good for like business stuff, of course. I own a gym out here, and I got some other things that I'm wanting to push from here. But he's also very good on like there's no shortcuts. You have to be gritty, and here's the step by step process on how to build that. He's very good, like real world application stuff, and if you can do it in business, it applies to like everything else. So he's kind of, I would say, the person I kind of follow most closely for the overall thing. And then I do a lot of like reading on like business books and like personal development, like belief structure books, stuff like that. So I mean, in a way, if you're reading those kinds of books, everybody kind of pours in a little bit mentor wise to you that way. Um, as far as in-person people, I have a couple people I do like a mastermind group with. One of them's he's like a top 20 all-time power lifter. But he's owned several businesses in the past, and he does very well. Powerlifting's his hobby, not like his business.
Wow.
Um, then another friend of mine that is kind of on the up and coming on like the gym business side of things. And we get together like once a week. We'll get on a call for like 45 minutes and just kind of go over where we're at, what we're trying to do, and then pick each other's brains on how to push that stuff. So
Wow, that's awesome. That's some good resources there.
a lot of irons in the fire, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and everyone that I've spoken with that is successful, either in sport or business, they have that. There is a mentor, they do have a coach, and they do read, and they're constantly wanting to improve themselves. And one of the things that that I had picked up, my business partner and I, a few years ago, we went to the IMG Academy, down in Florida, and we were Combine 360 certified so that we could start doing, combines and things here at the gym. And one of the trainers there, one of the speakers, and this really stuck with me, was that you want to be 1% better each day, right? Or 1% better each week. And that's something that I really have taught to my clients. And boy, the success with either the weight loss or nutrition or just with programming here at Woodall's, I have seen that just tremendous.
Absolutely. Yeah, everyone wants that quick fix, right? But the quick fix is like small little fixes over the long term. And
yep, exactly.
Yeah, it's all about sustainability. So
yeah, absolutely. So what do you do about nutrition? Like what do you like to eat? What do you eat when you're training?
So it kind of depends on what I'm training for. So I was in 2021, I was pushing up into the 308-pound weight class for powerlifting, which is not where my body likes to be. So it was like I was getting enough protein, but other than that, I just needed calories. I think I was eating like between 5,000 and 6,000 calories a day, and I think the heaviest I got was 295. I just couldn't get any heavier. And then if I had one day where I ate just how I wanted to be, I'd be like under 290 in a day or two. It was crazy. Wow. Right now, I'm actually working my way down. I kind of sit right at 275 normally. That's a weight class in powerlifting that I feel good at and can still be pretty strong. But I'm trying to push down like into the lower 260s for this. So I'm at like 270 right now. And for me, it's just, there's two things. I have like the amount of protein I try to get per day. And then I have a calorie threshold that puts me in a deficit, like a small deficit. And that, if that happens, I don't care what you eat to make it there. You're just going to be less hungry or more hungry depending on the food choices you make. But as long as you hit the ceiling and of your calories and then stop, and you have that dialed in pretty well, it just works. I hear people all the time talking about like, oh, diets don't work because I get hungry, and there's definitely diets that work better, and you have to find something you can stand doing for long enough for it to be like a consistently different life change than you had been doing. But for me, I had a guy and he was like, I'm getting hungry. And I was like, well, your body's used to eating more food than you're eating right now. So you will. He's like, what am I supposed to do? I was like, well, what? He's like, when I'm hungry. I was like, you're hungry. And like you knew that coming in. And I'm not saying it's healthy to be like starving yourself all the time, but I've found that like with everything. So like if I have, last week I was way behind and I had 27 programs to do on Sunday for people, like custom programs. That's a long day. That's not a fun day. I didn't want to do it. But as long as you follow any negative thing like that with, and you have to, so it doesn't matter. Like I'm hungry and I'm trying to get down to 260. So it's just part of the game. And if I'm eating enough protein, I'll maintain my muscle mass to the best of my ability. And that's all you can do. I don't want to make these sales calls if you're in sales. And it doesn't matter. You still have bills to pay, so you got to figure it out. Like it's just, right. I feel like take the excuse away and good things happen.
Well, as you see the logo behind me here, I've got 3 points on the logo, and they stand for mind, body, and spirit. And I'm really a firm believer on getting each one of those in your life in check, because if you're doing more of one and ignoring the others, then you're just going to start that cycle, right? You're just going to keep spinning
Right.
the wheels. You're going to be stuck in the mud, and you're not going to be really going anywhere. And so a lot of my workouts with my clients, and like with the Woodall's Vintage Strength Games, you're going to see people go through that mental journey, right?
Right.
And as a competitive athlete, I mean, you see that. You see them go through that mental journey. There's a moment where, like, do I quit? It's getting hard. What do I do? And then they dial in. And that
Right.
moment is such a revelation and such a life-changing experience. It's wonderful to see. And we really embrace that here. So with the Woodall's Vintage Strength Games, we're going to see quite a few of that.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. I'm excited to see what people do, especially like I haven't decided. I signed up so I could do everything. Man, I don't know about these 10-minute ones though, especially after doing other events, but it'll be fun to see whether I'm doing it and just experiencing like the oof, this is a long time, or if I'm watching people have that experience. Like it's gonna be interesting. Those are the ones I'm excited to see. Like 5 minutes is hard enough, but like those 10-minute ones, especially if it's someone that's done like 3 events before that one, that's gonna be an interesting experience.
Oh yeah, it's really awesome to watch. When I was in Orlando last year and I saw those competitors that were doing those 10-minute cycles. I mean, and you're just, I mean, I am a big cheerleader. I like to coach, I like to say things, and I was nonstop just cheering all
Yeah.
of them on. And but you can definitely see their body language, their grip. It's the grip, right? So
Yep.
really, 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 I mean, really train that grip.
I tell you
Um,
what one kills me is the two-handed club mill. Just I feel like it's the same weights are like harder than when I just single arm. It's crazy.
yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
probably doing it wrong, but
No, but you're having to manipulate both arms, right?
hmm.
Versus just the one.
Yep.
That one I can just spin around, but then I got to pull the other one up and around.
Right.
And, so yeah, so if you've got, because everyone has a shoulder that is a little bit more, let's just say, in shape than the
Right.
other shoulder, right? And so that's where the challenge comes in. And that's where it's good to start training this way so that you can get both shoulders equally or as much as possible to that healthy point so that you can, do a strongman event or a kettlebell
Right.
competition, just daily life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So with your daily, I mean, it sounds like you're pretty busy. How often are you training clients versus training yourself?
So I as I've gotten older, I'm 40 now, so it's not like I'm super super old, but I'm touching into that master's category finally. And I remember back in my 20s when I was doing CrossFit, it's like, 5 days a week, 2 hours a day, just go nuts, eat everything, and it's fine. But for me personally, I train 4 days a week. I might get a fifth day in where I just do like some light swinging, but it's not like a hard one. And I don't ever lift, I don't ever train more than like an hour. I think I have like usually at least one day is only about 45 minutes. And I mean, that's not necessarily for everybody. That's just for me. I just need more recovery than like what big sessions and a lot of days will give me. Because I'm
Right.
still trying to push the weights too, right? Like if I was just doing lighter bodybuilding stuff, or if I was just doing like just kind of lighter swinging, like I could, go crazy every day and probably be fine. But you add the extra loads, then it starts becoming an issue. As far as clients, I got 27 training hours right now where I train people. And then I got a number of people that I do online programming for. And then I actually have that's done through an app. And then I have another side of the app that's template programming. And I got some strongman stuff on there, some powerlifting stuff on there, some just general conditioning stuff on there. And then I do have one like barbell and like mace club combination thing on there too, and I'm looking to put more of those out there too because this is the kind of training I'm doing right now and I love it. So um it's very fun. I feel like I'm getting very strong and I'm getting in like good shape. So
I
It's a
love your
good combo.
videos. Every time you post a video and you're doing a little bit more weight, I'm like, holy mackerel. This guy, I
Well, and
mean, it's fun to watch.
it's funny because like I feel I'm I'm big on like there doesn't have to be a tool that does everything. And there's specific tools that are really good at specific things, and then you can use them for other things, but there might be like a better option. And some people are limited by the things they have. But I have like a super decked out home gym and I have a gym. So for me, I don't like have that limitation. So I just feel like with my strength kind of muscle barbell background, I just start with like a higher strength level. So like that's the only reason I can do the heavier clubs because my technique is not that great. But because I just have a little bit more strength reserve, I can like get away with it. Um, Whereas I feel like people that are strictly into like barbell stuff, they move like complete trash and can't swing anything because they're not mobile enough to, and everything looks crazy and out of control. Or you have people that are like super into functional fitness, which I mean, if that's you and you like it, do it. That's fine. But I do feel like sometimes if you're trying to like use the mace to do everything, you're limited by how heavy it can go. And the heaviest, if you double add-on kit the mace, you're at like a 70-pound mace, and 70-pound mace is no joke.
It's
But
no
like
joke. That is no joke.
it's only a 70-pound squat. If you have it on your shoulder, like, and you can get a lot of quality work in that way, but it's not going to like build the strength like throwing a bar on your back would. Just like trying to like do really good clean overhead pressing with a barbell isn't going to get your lat stretched out enough compared to a swing.
So I'm glad you brought that up because I have had several gentlemen outside of the gym and inside the gym. And when they see me working out with like 20 pounds on the mace,
It's a different 20 pounds.
right? They're like, so what? It's 20 pounds. I can curl that, right? And I'm like, it's a whole different
It's different.
energy system. It's a
Yeah.
different force on your body. And so that's been my only, how can I put, I don't want to call it an obstacle, but that's been my only crazy thing that I've had to explain to everyone. But once I get the mace in their hand
They
and they
get it.
start doing it, then they're like, got it. So have you experienced that at all?
So I I feel like I'm a big guy. I'm not super tall. I'm like 6 foot, but I'm like a 270 pound 6 foot dude that like not like an overweight 270, right? Like I'm a big dude. So I feel like in person, not many people come up to me in general just because they think like I'm gonna be mean or something. But more than that, like the naysayers typically don't say anything to my face. And because if I'm in like a Vasa Fitness or an LA Fitness, the stuff I do with a barbell, like I've benched over 500 pounds in competition before. Like, I've pulled 7, I've squatted
Wow.
over 6. Like in a commercial gym, those aren't like normal numbers for people. So like, I feel like even if I do other stuff that if someone that looks like a more normal sized person did, they'd be like, "Oh, what's that guy doing?" But like they just see me bench 405 for 3 reps, and then I go start swinging a club, and they're like, "That must be the secret." Like it's just a different conversation, right? Like they
Right.
just because they get like they see the thing I'm doing, and it's likely more or impressive to some degree compared to what they're doing. So then, but they're looking for that shortcut and that super secret, and they see me do a weird thing and think that must be it. So I haven't really had to deal with that. I've definitely had that happen the other way though, where like if I'm in like because after nationals in 2021, I started doing like martial arts stuff again, just to see if it was something I wanted to pursue again. And I don't look like someone that would like move well and kick your head, things like that. So I kind of got it that way where it's like, oh, you're just this big guy that can't move. But then like you spar and you see kind of like when you let them try your mace, they get it. Um, so I've had that a little bit, but not, I'm sure, in the same way as you experienced it.
With your clients that are using the Mason clubs, are they using it more for overall strength and conditioning, or are they doing any kind of like rehab work with it?
So I use it quite a bit, especially on upper body days for warm-ups and for like finishers. And I'm sure you've seen like some people are like, whoa, I really like this. And some people are like, that's the most complicated thing ever, and I suck at it, so I hate it. So I kind of let, if they like it, we do it. If they don't, there's other ways that I can kind of make sure your mobility is taken care of and things too. And I still sprinkle it in because eventually, once you like get the hang of it, you'll like it. But I have clients, I have some like general fitness clients, but most of them are competitive strength athletes, my in-person ones. Like, and they're maybe not like the best people in the world, but out of the trainers we have there, if they're like specifically looking for me, it's because maybe they're new, but they want to try powerlifting or they want to try to get into a strongman show. So I have a lot of like beginner and intermediate in-person people that want to compete. And then I have some really good people in person, and then some that are like, most of my like really advanced people are online people. So for those people, it's more of an injury prevention thing. For my general fitness people that are just trying to get into shape, I sprinkle it in like wherever and whenever I can. Those and two-handed kettlebell swings and single arm kettlebell swings are just one of the best things you could do for like general fitness too.
Oh,
Burns a lot
yes.
of calories, teaches you how to move.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Tell me a little bit about your education and your educational background.
Yeah, so I went to college at Indian Wesleyan University here in Indiana. Ended up getting a philosophy degree, and then later got my master's from Purdue. So I'm overly schooled with nothing that pays well. But it made me think about stuff. So
Yeah,
that's, I
you're
guess,
a great thinker.
yeah, I like to pretend that I'm good at it, but yeah, it definitely gave me like some critical thinking skills. You know, things like, why would I use the barbell for everything when if I want to build explosiveness, jumps, kettlebell swings, things like that are very good for building ballistics too. Why would I shy away from it? And same thing, like the kettlebell doesn't have to be everything. We can use a barbell to squat too, and we can bench press, and it's okay. So I think that definitely has built my training philosophy too, is being able to kind of think through what things work for what things.
So if there's anyone that will be watching, which they will be, what can you tell the audience about Woodall's vintage strength games? Because I've had a few people that were nervous about signing up. It's their first time. They don't know
Oh,
what to expect. So
this is my favorite
it's
conversation
your first
ever.
time too. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about your
This is
background.
my favorite thing ever to talk about. People are very afraid of looking dumb or inept in front of other people. And I think that's just like a human thing, right? Like we don't want to look foolish in front of people. I get this a lot with people who want to do a strength sport, which the vintage strength games qualifies. Like they want to hit certain numbers in their powerlifting list before they even compete. Um, they think everybody's going to look at them and laugh if they're not strong enough or they don't get a certain number of reps or the technique looks weird. The truth is, like, there's two things. The first thing is like, especially with more niche sports like strongman or Mason Club as it is at the moment, dude, people are just happy you know what they're doing. like you said, probably the more common experience if you're swinging a club in a gym is like, what an idiot. What is he doing? Oh, it's only 20 pounds. He must be pretty weak. Whereas everyone there is going to be like, hell yeah, you're swinging a 20-pound mace. That's cool. Good
Yeah,
job.
right.
Um, so I feel like people don't realize that that's how the vast majority of people are going to operate. I can say for sure in like the strongman community, it's 100% like that. We're just happy you know what we mean when we say log press, you know. And
Right.
then I'm sure it's exactly like that in the mace community. It's like, oh, you know what a 360 is? That's crazy. There's not many of us yet, you know.
Right.
Um, and then the second thing is, this is a big thing that I feel like people struggle with when they haven't been in a gym and they want to go to a gym or whatever. They're like, oh, I don't want to look stupid in front of people. I'm new. I'm not the same head trash, right? But the reality is, especially if it's people who are competing, they are not even looking at you because they got too much of their own crap to worry about. They don't know you exist, you know?
Right.
And if you're talking a commercial gym, like the bigger and more jacked the dude is, probably the more likely he's staring at himself in the mirror. He doesn't know you're alive. Like you're not doing anything impressive enough to like. So I feel like the worse you are, the like less pressure everything is. Like if you come in there like, and people think you're going to be good, like I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but like there ain't a ton of people swinging the weights that I swing consistently, right? Just because I come from like a strength background. So like if anything, I think a guy like me would have a little more to be nervous about because like I feel like there's a little bit of expectations with what like I like if I go there and just do the Mace 360, are people going to be like, why isn't he doing more events? What's this? You know, oh, why is he only swinging a 40 pounder on that? We thought he had better. Like, so like that. I feel like that probably isn't reality either, but like I feel like it has a chance to be more of a reality than someone that's their first time swinging, just wanting to try stuff out. Like everyone's going to be stoked. I want to be stoked to watch you get your first swing and make it look good because I remember what it was like to suck at it.
Oh,
Wasn't too long
yes.
ago.
Oh, yes. Yes, I'm very familiar with that. What would you suggest to anyone that's maybe on the fence about registering for the Woodall's Vintage Strength Games?
Oh, just do it. It's so, especially like you can sign up individual events. Like maybe you're bad at mills, but like you can do a 360. If you've played with the mace at all and you know that the strength games exist, then you know how to do a 360. Do the 5 minute 360. It's $15. That's basically free. Like that's the cheapest thing. I've like 150 for all of them. That's like me paying for a powerlifting meet. That's like me going to nationals for strongman. Like that's cheaper to sign up for everything. And yeah, it's there's no money excuse. And just do the one you're good at, do the one you feel comfortable at, and just the thing that's going to be that I'm super excited about. I'm very excited about competing and swinging, but I'm very excited about like meeting more people like that are pretty serious into the community, right? Like you got Still Nation podcast. Fred's going to be there. You got
Yep.
Don's going to be there. Like there's these people that like I followed online and like I own their products. Like I've been on his podcast a couple times. Like, but I've never met these people in person. It's just going to be cool to like network with people that are into the same stuff you're into. Like, how often are you going to be in the same place as like 50 people that know what you're talking about when it comes to this stuff? It just doesn't happen.
Right. Yeah, no, so I've competed in at least 3 of these, and each one has been a unique experience. And the number one takeaway, besides, competing, is the camaraderie and the fellowship and the networking that will come from this event. And
Absolutely.
everyone there has a little bit of a tweak or a piece of advice that has really high payoff. I mean, so yeah, it's been a wonderful experience. And every time I've gone, the fellowship has just been incredible. It's just been amazing.
Absolutely, man. I'm stoked that you're doing kind of the meet and greet day too. So it's like we have some of that, and then we get to compete. Normally,
Yeah.
you kind of have to do all that in one day, but it's nice that we have kind of a separate time to like just kind of hang out and talk to each other a little bit more as well. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
I'm
gonna let
stoked. It's gonna be so fun.
everyone, they're gonna take a tour of the gym. If they wanna play with the equipment, I mean, go for it. That's that whole meet and greet is just to get to know each other, cheer each other on, go over some of the rules and expectations. I mean, simple things, nothing complicated. And then Saturday, we're gonna have fun, we're gonna get at it, and
Yeah.
we're gonna have food, and it's gonna be amazing.
Do you know if Brad Hutchins is going to be there? I knew he got a hip replaced or something.
Yeah, so I just saw, in fact, I met Brad in Virginia last Saturday.
Okay.
And he and I chatted. He is working some things out with his schedule. He told me his
Quit his
wife's
job. Tell him to
birthday.
quit his job and just get here.
Yeah, he said his wife's birthday is very close to the Vintage Strength Games. So I
Dude,
said, well,
that's my 1 year anniversary to my
Oh,
wife, and I'm making her come. So
all
his wife
right.
has had plenty of
Okay.
birthdays. She can
All
come.
right, Brad, I know you're watching, so here you go.
Yeah, I want to meet that dude. That was the first dude that I saw from the States swinging like heavy, heavy.
Oh, the guy is,
Strong dude.
yes,
Yeah, he was the dude that inspired me to spend all my money on like an 85 pound and 100 pound club from Great Lakes Gear.
right. Yes. No, absolutely. In fact, in the at the Orlando games, he came up to me and he goes, "All right, let's do," because we had finished everything. And he's
Yeah.
like, "All right, let's do a little challenge with each other." And I go, "All right, what's the challenge?" And he goes, "We'll do a 10-2. We'll start with like 20 pounds and
Mhm.
we'll go up to see who can go the heaviest."
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
And I got up to, I want to say the 40, and I was starting to really, and I had a client of mine there, and she knows my business partner very well. And she goes, "James, if you go back injured, your business partner, Barbie, is going to kill you." But Brad, and there was another gentleman, and he was just beast. And they went up to, I want to say 80,
Whew.
80 pounds. And
A big club.
this was after the event, right? This is after
Yeah, after
everyone's
they
hands are
compete.
tore up. They're like, their shoulders are, I mean, this is after everything. So we'll probably, play with something like that as
Well, now
well.
I feel like I shouldn't do all the events. Keep my shoulders fresh so I can
Oh
try.
no.
No, I'll be good to
No,
go.
do all the events. No,
I
absolutely.
always,
Yeah, no,
I
if we
always
have
tell my
time to get in
I always
some
tell my
time like that, we'll definitely do that.
I always tell my competitors, I'm like, when we're training, like they'll want to push real hard, and I'm like, okay, there's like a limit. I was like, look, if you're gonna get hurt, comp day is when to do it, not in training here. So like,
Right,
comp day, I'll let you do crazy, stupid things if it's what it takes to like get you to win the thing you're trying to win. But
right.
so yeah, I don't mind. It's fine if I get hurt. I don't have to do that powerlifting meet the next week. I'd rather just go crazy on this one.